Hey guys, a few things I need to say for context before we get started here. First off, this is not a recent debate. This actually happened a few years ago. It was originally live streamed on Queen Seraphina's channel, but she unlisted it due to her content changing later on. She's allowing me to upload it here for you all so that it's public again. And secondly, there's the premise of this debate. An individual by the name of Deviant Crow was upset about my opinion on two topics. The first being that I didn't think a person who believes themselves to be a deer spirit, among other things you'll see discussed later, should be employed on Twitch's trust and safety team. And the second topic is art related, on whether or not drawing sexy women is inherently, well, sexist. Unfortunately, the video cuts off abruptly due to the original stream being reported during its airing. Even to this day, we don't know why. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this. Promote it, so we'll give a few minutes and we'll do introductions and then we'll be on to the topics and then we'll start arguing. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
All right, I'll throw it in.
All right, copying the link.
Are you going to put it in events or?
I'll go ahead and do that since I'm here, but I'm also going to toss it out to a few other places.
All right, put it on Twitter as well. Debate between Plushy and Leo is now live.
So now,
hey guys, hello Rory. See that you were in the chat. And don't worry, Coyote. I have once again used the best image to represent you.
Only the finest art is what I have.
go ahead and put in this on Twitter.
I am only memeing. I actually love that piece Friddle did right there.
I don't even remember why you did that. Yeah.
I don't know. I think the conversation's like turned over to Coyote Undertale for reasons I can't explain. And then someone's like, so Coyote is sans confirmed, and then Riddle made that for reasons that I can't understand, and it's staring at me like it's gonna eat my soul, and I love it.
All right.
I love him.
I guess we should begin.
Introductions.
Yeah, with introductions. I'll let Plushy go first.
I'm your Lord and Savior, Mad Plushy, also known as Deviant Crow. I am a comedy/rant YouTube channel. Not a human being, just a channel.
Okay. And Leo?
I am LioConvoy. I like talking about different topics. My channel is primarily focused on cartoons and other sources of media, but occasionally I dabble into other things here. The reason why I have decided to do this is because Plushy wanted this argument about a week ago. I denied it to him. He called me ableist over it, so I figured this time I'll give him what he wants, and I will genuinely engage him in this.
I had to turn up Crow's volume, my bad. Crow's volume.
Yeah, give us a little talk here, Crow, so we can make sure you're leveled out here.
All right, we're good. We're good. To turn up Discord up to 70. There we go.
All right, and we have our moderators for this debate. We have Coyote Lovely. Tell us about yourself, Coyote.
I'm a homeless guy that they dragged off the street, and they promised to give $5 to if I would sit here and just pretend to care.
I told you not to tell them that.
Or you know what? Maybe give me $10. Maybe give me $10 then, huh?
We will negotiate that when the terms are to be negotiated. You are past the negotiation phase.
Damn. Can I have a sandwich?
Maybe, if you do well. All right, and we have, of course, Stalin.
Yes, hello. I am hosting this stream because I have to. Don't mind me. I'm just here. We have signed an oath. All who walk the blessed path will find salvation, even in death, out of darkness. I'm gonna shut the fuck up now. You guys can start.
Jackal Sniper.
Jackal Sniper.
All right, so per Plushy's request, or Crow's request, the first topic we're going to discuss is the Twitch Trust and Safety Board member. So why don't you go ahead and give us your opening argument here, Plush?
Wait, wouldn't it make more sense if you made the opening argument?
Well, I mean, this is based ultimately on your work here. So I thought it would be courteous to give you that. If you don't want it, that's fine. I'll take it. I'm just telling you right now, I'm giving you that right.
You should probably do the opening argument.
All right. My opening argument, my issue here is if what is being put out is not an act, if what is being put out is an accurate assessment of this individual, I do not believe they should be on a trust and safety platform, because if they genuinely believe themselves to be, in fact, a deer, that shows an inability to properly regulate and interpret reality, and somebody who has that issue should not be in charge of anything due to their own mental health. My issue with her has nothing to do with her being trans. Let's be honest, if it was, I wouldn't be calling her her. It has to do with, I believe, a lack of mental fortitude if this is, in fact, reality that she's putting forward and not just an elaborate joke.
And here's why that I disagree with that. Okay, so the whole religion, God and big guy in the sky controls everything. That's perfectly fine. Someone believes they have she has said she doesn't believe she's a deer. She just has this deer spirit thing, and that's semi-religious, I guess. I don't see what's wrong with her doing like a semi-religious thing. You know, a lot of people believe in crazy shit and they're still competent.
Okay, tell me in detail what this deer spirit thing is about.
Honestly, I don't know. I would have to do some research on that. I'll do this in a bit, and you can blather on about your points as well.
Wait, you made an entire video on this and you didn't even know what her stance actually is?
No, wait. Even alone, even if she did just believe that she's like a semi deer, whatever the fuck, why do we fucking care? We should judge her on how she does her fucking job first.
Well, considering
Crow, hold on. That's Crow. That's a pivot. He asked you a pretty direct question, and that was one of the agreements. Pivots are not going to be allowed. If someone's asking you a pretty direct question, then answer it.
Fair enough. To be fair, at the time of the video, I thought it was just, oh, she believes in that spirit, that spirit stuff. There seems to be a lot. I've seen videos of like people who believe they have a spirit of an animal in them. Let me look that up real quick.
if you're talking about spirit guides or animal spirits, like say the Native Americans tend to have spirit guides like that, I find that to be a different matter altogether than wearing horns and eating grass and saying that you are a deer. There's a bit of a difference there. Matter of fact, a very marked difference there. I'm having people in the chat saying that she's an otherkin. I'm not really sure if that's accurate. If any of you have a link that would provide evidence to that, that'd
Yes.
be nice.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Otherkin, thank you.
Okay, an otherkin is somebody who genuinely believes they are said animal deep down, like in their soul.
Let's back that up actually.
Well, okay, sure. One moment.
Otherkin are a subculture who socially and spiritually identify spiritually and socially identify as not entirely human.
Where's your source, please?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Okay,
If you could link that very quickly, just so we all have access to it as well.
I got it.
All right.
Let me go ahead and link it. Send it to Stalin, and then I'll send it to Coyote.
I will also throw up a graphic on the stream that Leo just made. My bad, not Leo. God damn it, Riddle. Ugh.
As I said, this seems to be more of a spiritual thing, and really at that state, we shouldn't really be worried about it because it's basically just like freaking any other religion. You don't go like, oh God, the guy's Jewish. I can't give him a job. He's crazy. He believes in some god or bullshit.
Well, first and foremost, I would like to take to account here the statement that says that as a subculture that spiritually identifies not entirely human. The source for that, specifically according to this article, is a book on the vampire or the psychic vampire codex. So I'm not really sure if that's actually in relation to real otherkin or specifically to vampire related ones. I personally believe the best way to go about this is less of the Wikipedia article and more of the Oxford Dictionary definition of otherkin, which is simply a person who identifies as non-human, typically as being wholly or partially an animal or mythical being. And I'll go ahead and I'll grab that screen cap and I'll send it on over here. I'll put it in voice chat context as well so everybody sees what's going on here. It's going to take me a minute because I'm a boomer and technology takes me a while.
Yes, I can tell.
Bite me.
Don't be a boomer. Be like me, a coomer.
Please no.
How about we don't do that?
All right. There's the definition for otherkin. Now, the difference between a standard religion and believing yourself to be otherkin is most religions, specifically the one you are referencing, which is Christianity, we do not believe that our souls are that of animals and we inhabit human bodies. It's a different matter altogether. And part of the argument you're making here is a bit of a misnomer. Is there's a difference between believing in something and believing you are something, especially when it's easily disproved. And I can easily walk this through in a certain amount of things here. First of all, this person, if they are in fact otherkin, as you are making clear is the claim here, if you are an animal, you understand the animal's motivations, you understand its primal nature, and you understand what it eats. Deer very rarely eat grass. They feast on other things like shrubs and trees, and occasionally meat if they're hungry enough. It all very much so varies. If this person is in fact deer spirited, they wouldn't be going by cartoon stereotypes. That's not how it works. I'm also personally confused, and I'm not trying to take shots here. Why somebody who is a trans woman would identify as a male deer? I'm very confused by that because male deer are the ones that have the antlers. Doe don't. That's what they're called. They're called doe, and they don't have antlers. Antlers are a male dimorphic trait of deer.
Now, before we get down this line of thought too far, I do want to interject. This is something they have admitted that they are in fact otherkin, correct? Like this is because before this conversation goes too far in that direction, I just want to verify that this is a statement they have made. It's self-admitted. This is a premise that is based in reality as far as they have said this. And that's just to make sure that that you two aren't arguing a point that's not even on the table.
Well, I'm arguing based on the point that Crow has made. His claim was that she identifies as an otherkin.
All right. Is Crow? Is that something that you can? That's something that's verified. They've made this claim. Is that correct?
I do believe they made that claim. I've also seen video of them saying something about deer spirits.
All right. Then I suppose, for the sake of brevity, we'll operate under that premise.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
Now, I know some people have pointed out the whole deergasm thing. Personally, Pat's pointed out to me that's probably just stimming, which is an autism thing, not something I really know too much about. Probably being reworked to the whole deergasm thing, as they call it, possibly sexual. I don't know. I'm not in that person's head. My point is, if this person genuinely believes that they are otherkin and they are spiritually an animal and as such react and act like they are in their own personal life, that is not showing up accurate reflection of reality. And as such, this person shouldn't be on a trust and safety board, because you cannot entrust somebody else's safety to somebody who does not have the ability to see reality accurately.
Two problems. One, if they do it in their personal life, there's no guarantee they'll do it in their work life. Their personal life and their work life could be entirely different. And two, the whole, oh, it doesn't make sense for them to believe that they're a deer spiritually. Well, okay, here's one thing though. The whole reason I pointed out the God thing is because they don't have very much proof or evidence to them. They're both kind of crazy, far off ideals when you really think about it, and if you're really honest with yourself. So really, why are people against this one crazy ideal and not the other one? Is it because the other one's more popular and generally accepted? I do wonder.
No, a couple things. First of all, I pointed out the fact that there's a difference between arguing the existence of something and believing yourself to be something. These are separate situations. There's a difference between having a religious ideology or a spiritual belief and believing you are, in fact, a deity. I'm arguing concerning the latter issue. The latter issue is this person believes that they are a deer in one way or another. That is wholly different than believing in deer. Now, as far as if they're doing it in their free time, genuinely, or generally rather, I would not disagree. However, this person is on Twitch regularly and does these deer actions on her streams. She is not separating her work life from her personal life. She very much so has it integrated.
Okay, so let me hear this. Let me hear this. It's logical and okay for a person to have a job if they're Christian, and Christians have, you know how Christians work. They let their religion affects their work. Like they'll pray as if that'll do something. They believe themselves to be children of God, children of the Jesus Christ. They believe that whole thing happened, even though there's not a lot of proof to that. That's perfectly fine. There's no evidence for them, and they believe that God will bless them, and if they keep on praying, they'll be fine. Have you seen these recent motherfuckers saying, I don't need to wear a mask out in public. I'll be fine. I have Jesus on my side. So that's fine. We should that's fine. They're logical enough. Someone thinks they're spiritually a deer, and most eat grass. A lot of people do weird shit and they're still competent enough, right?
Okay, let me go ahead and address your statements here. Firstly, if we were to actually tackle the believability or accuracy of Christianity, you and I would be here for a very long time because there is a lot of historical evidence to the account, specifically in the Bible, that you're not aware of, and that's kind of obvious. But again, I keep telling you it's a false equivalence because, again, belief in something is not belief of something.
But
believing in God and having Christian beliefs is not the same as believing you are a deer or believing you are a God. That's a false equivalence. And I'm not going to say that I agree with the people who say, well, God will protect me. I don't need a mask, because the Bible also says not to tempt God. It also says not to be stupid. That's a false equivalence, Plushie. And as such, I'm afraid I'm going to have to outright reject it.
I don't see how it's too far off of a false equivalence. Sure, one is believing in something, and the other is believing you are something, but they're still both crazy ideals that don't have much fact or bearing in reality.
Well, again, I could easily dismantle the Christianity. It doesn't have much bearing in reality, but we would literally be here for hours. And I don't think
you can't easily do it. You can't easily do it.
No, I can easily do it. There's just a lot of data. The Bible is the most criticized and scoured book in existence. It has been the most scrutinized.
Can you show me a picture of God, actual proof, DNA samples and all that? Can you do that, Leo?
DNA samples of a spiritual entity.
Well, you have to show some significant proof based off science.
Well, I mean, if you want to, we could easily get into the mathematics about the possibility of the Earth existing in the way it is, despite the fact that it's a scientific improbability, considering mathematics. We could easily get into that. But again,
if I may interject here, the chat is pointing out this has nothing to do with what we were on before, which was the whole other
Correct.
We're getting off track.
I was about to say that too. We're getting off track, and it's time to steer back to the top. This is getting to the point that it's not even related to the conversation anymore.
Well, that's why I think it's a false equivalence. That's my point.
I agree. I was just waiting to see if he might steer it back to his original point. That did not happen. So yeah, it's time to steer
my point is though, it's okay for that other crazy thing that has little to no proof, but for this crazy thing that also has little to no proof, that's fine. That's bad. How dares the
Bro. The original point was that they were separating their work life from their personal life, this being their personal life, but his point was that they have not done that, and Leo made the claim that they do this on Twitch, which is their job, so they are not separating their personal professional life in that regard.
More importantly,
was the initial point.
Every single clip we have of her is from Twitch.
Yeah, she screams on Twitch and she acts silly. Multiple YouTubers, they like clothing businesses and stuff, and sometimes they act silly on camera and shit. But you don't test that to, oh man, they can't run a clothing shop. How dare they?
Do you remember what I said earlier in the stream, Crow? What my initial opening statement was?
Say it again there.
Okay, my initial opening statement was that this is not an act. If this person legitimately believes that they are a deer and they are on this platform doing this, I do not believe they should be in charge of anything. That's my point.
You have proof that will actually affect their career in any way. Huh?
I am telling you right now, if somebody cannot accurately interpret reality, it will affect a lot of things, especially when you are on a trust and safety board. Tell me, Crow, have you ever worked a blue-collar job?
Yes, I was a janitor for 4 months.
Excellent. Okay, so as a janitor, you have to use certain chemicals to clean different types of stains, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, in your job as a janitor, did you prepare the chemicals or did somebody prepare them for you before you got there?
They were pre-prepared.
Okay. So, if they're pre-prepared, right? If the person pre-preparing those chemicals for you thinks that phone lines are giants, would you really want them to help you mix your chemicals?
It depends on how good they are at their fucking job. If they listen to it, anyone can follow instructions on how to do a job. It's fucking easy.
You would say that, but there have been a lot of workplace accidents with people who have been on narcotics, that have been sleep deprived, people that have had other issues with measuring reality, because ultimately that's what the argument comes down to, is the measurement of reality. As a previous CDL, Class B truck driver, I had to have between weeks at least 36 hours of downtime after 50 hours of driving, because when you get too fatigued, your brain does not operate at peak efficiency, and your ability to read and react on the road is severely impaired, and it therefore makes you a danger. And that's without any narcotics, that's without any substance abuse, that's just your brain being tired. We're talking about somebody whose brain does not accurately reflect the fact that they are in fact human. This is a complete thing that's even worse than just being tired. That's why I don't think they should be on it. I think they could be a safety hazard. Matter of fact, I think that somebody who is that hard up for interpreting reality shouldn't be on a safety board at all.
You'll see no correlation with her believing deer spirit stuff in, her job. Sure,
I just laid out for you the
that's not
correlation.
That's not
Leo,
correlation.
I
Oh, here's some people doing like drugs and stuff and not having a strong grasp, not a strong grasp on reality. Yet we don't know if her believing in deer stuff will actually affect her job as a safety monitor. There's a kind of two different things.
I just want to just stress that while what you've said is valid, contextually, that is with physical safety and in positions that don't necessarily apply to what's being discussed. If you had, any kind of examples to throw out that relate to social media and safety as far as, Twitch or YouTube or situations like that were concerned, that would probably be valid, but it's trying to correlate a very different kind of safety with something that's not really comparable, if that makes sense.
Okay, I have a better one then, if you'd like me to take down that path rather.
Okay, yeah, fucking go ahead.
All right. All right. Question. Are you fond of our current president?
Fuck no. God, no.
Do you think he can accurately measure reality?
I mean, I'm pretty sure he fucking can. He's just a lying asshole who'd rather make money off the people that's suffering. It's less of him being a crazy moron and more of him being a corrupt asshole.
But if he was a crazy moron, would you be happy with him in power?
No, he's a crazy asshole.
Well, the president doesn't hold any actual power himself. There's plenty of other people that can veto him. What's the problem?
Repeat that again.
The president himself can easily have power removed via votes. He, in and of himself, has no power. So what's the problem?
Well, I guess in that case, it would be easy to remove him. But, seeing how he's done all this bad shit right now.
No, but your argument is, and again, I must stress, in my hypothetical, it isn't that he's vindictive or that he is evil or that he lies. It's just that he's crazy. He can't measure reality properly. It's a hypothetical, yes. And in my hypothetical, you answered you would not want him in power. Why?
Because if his craziness caused him to commit the acts he's done, then that's proof that proves he shouldn't be.
Okay, let me get back down to it. I'm not saying right now we magically would turn him crazy. I'm saying removing any past history that any acts he's done, any laws he's put in place, any of that. If he was just mentally unhinged, would you be okay with him being president?
Well, that depends. How mentally unhinged is he? I would need context to make a decision like that. Most people's definition of mentally unhinged is like fucking wrong and shit. Like people will say, I'm mentally unhinged.
I'm not asking for other people's. I'm asking for yours. Because I asked you.
Opinion, I would have to need more context. I would need to have like how is he crazy?
By your standards. By your standards, Crow. By your standards, mentally unhinged.
Standards mentally unhinged? Yeah, but that's because standards are different, or widely different from yours.
I know, but my standards by your standards
are someone that believes in deer spirit stuff.
Am I having a hard time here, guys? Is
No,
Am I not being clear?
I completely understand where what you're trying to do, Leo. I just don't think Plushie's getting it.
Okay.
I
I'm not.
understand as well, and I believe you're making an adequate comparison at this point. And I don't understand where the disconnect is coming in, really. I mean, this is an accurate comparison in the sense that it's not more abstract like your other comparison. This one is a lot more. It correlates a lot more clearly. So I'm not seeing where the disconnect is and why this isn't translating.
All right, then I'm going to take another route if that's okay. Plushie, do you believe that a person that is either unbalanced or somebody who believes they're a deer spirit should be kept in a position of power until they hurt somebody?
It depends. If they're just believing in deer spirit stuff and they do a great and they do their job correctly, who the fuck cares? You should be judging them based on how they do their jobs.
That really didn't answer my question.
The answer is yes.
So
Until we have proof that they're mentally unstable enough to actually hurt someone. Someone believing they have a deer spirit is not mentally unstable enough to go out and hurt someone. They might have at most go like, "Oh my god, is that guy in a wolf costume? I'm gonna scurry away."
So you think that do you think preventative actions are not a good thing in this case? They're not something you would be okay with.
Depends on if they have any if the person has evidence that that someone is going to hurt someone, then that someone should be locked up. That's good preventative action.
I think that I'm swinging here and it's not connecting.
That's because you're wrong, Leo.
No,
it's because I know I'm not supposed to really say that much, but Plushie, it's really not connecting with you here, man.
I think I can clarify where the disconnect is now. It's that right now, Plushie, it seems that, and this is my interpretation, you're interpreting somebody getting hurt as a physical thing, whereas in this context, it would be it would be somebody losing their job, such as their channel being unfairly terminated,
Okay.
not being able to govern when somebody has or has not broken rules, and that leads to bad situations and bad precedents being
Do
set.
we
That's
have
where
any proof they're bad at that? Do we have any proof they're bad at that?
No, that's why I
all
talked about preventative, not as opposed to reactionary.
on is the deer lady.
I'm just trying to clarify that when it comes to a statement of someone's mental well-being within some kind of trust and safety team, and I'm not arguing any points, I'm trying to clarify this. When it comes to someone's mental well-being in a trust and safety team, that's where the concern is. Nobody's concerned about somebody getting physically harmed. Harm in this context simply means somebody's channel being possibly shut down or not, and possibly losing their job or not, depending on if they broke a rule or not. And it's completely open to.
If I may also interject with something that Creepy said in the chat, is no one going to bring up that this person who is on this console does not believe voice chat in online games should be a thing on a platform for streaming games?
One moment about that. The reason why I haven't is because I couldn't remember, and I'm not going to make a claim without citing a source. I couldn't remember if it was her or if it was a friend of hers, whose name is escaping me right now. That's why I didn't put that forth, because I didn't have the accurate information to make that claim.
Creepy, the reason I didn't bring it forward was because, for the most part, I'm here to be very neutral, and I'm only really interjecting when it's necessary.
But I will say, by the end of this, we will bring other people on. They can ask questions of either of us, and if you want on Creepy, I mean, Gamer, you're here. We can do that. But
Gamer,
there's a difference between preventative and reactionary, and it seems Plushie is more on the side of reacting, being a reactionary to things where you have to wait until damage is done before you can react. And I'm more on the preventative nature. That's why when I go camping, whenever we have somebody who's really drunk, we keep him away from the fire. We don't have evidence he's going to fall into it, but we want to make sure he doesn't.
But
I do want to press just Plushie. Hold on a moment, Leo. It does seem like there was kind of a label thrown at Plushie right there, reactionary. I don't know if you intended it in sort of a negative, pejorative way.
No,
I'm gonna ask that, like, okay, I'm just gonna ask like that we not use that kind of language because we did agree beforehand. No insults are gonna be thrown.
I mean, it wasn't meant as an insult. It was meant as just how things are reacted to. One reactionary in the sense, I'm not talking political reactionaryism. I'm referring to. Kind of like how Superman responds. Like damage has to happen before he can react. That's reactionary.
That's my bad then.
If I can also throw one more thing in from the chat, Meadow Fembot said, "How about Dear Lady? Dear Lady adminning a gaming website and saying gamers are white supremacists, supremacists / Nazis.
Not true at all. She didn't say that.
I mean, I don't know. That's just what the chat is saying. So
The chat is wrong.
No, she did say that a lot of gamers are. Hold on, she did say that a lot of gamers are white supremacists in her opinion.
Was a lot of gamers.
We are gonna need a source for that quote.
Sure,
honestly.
give me a second.
And I have no problem. Like if you can get a source, that's great. If you can't, I honestly think we should give the benefit of the doubt and just assume that that was not said and that may be speculation.
yeah, the chat is blowing up saying yes, she did said that. She did say that there's video proof.
Well, I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people say similar things.
And
well, this definitely happened. This definitely happened, but it may not have. So
don't
take it out of
shoot.
context.
Don't get mad at me over this. I'm just trying to make sure things are completely even here. If he's making a claim, if there is a claim, there should be a source to back it.
got it.
Like I'm saying, we shouldn't judge someone on. So what my main point is, we shouldn't judge someone on their spiritual beliefs. We should judge them based on their actions in reality. Thoughts do not mean much. What the actions do. And so far, I have not seen any problems how they run shit. If you have a problem with when they run shit, yeah, that's fine. But those say, oh, they're spiritually a deer or some fucking shit. They should lose their job.
I have seen. Let me go ahead and send it to Plushy too, real quick. I want to make sure everybody has it.
Just watch the clip, and that is in fact a statement that they made. So okay then, that's a regrettable statement to make.
No, I just.
I think I could play it on stream here. Hold on a minute through audio. Let me play it real quick for the audience.
I'm just not cool with white supremacy, y'all. It's really not that. I think a lot of you gamers are actually white supremacists.
I think in that.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I'm playing the clip. Hold on. Give me a moment.
Sorry. Just a fact of how I feel.
A fact of how I feel. Okay, now you can talk, Plushy.
I think specifically she was talking about the people in her live stream chat. Because she directly says "you" to the camera as if it's the people watching, of course, not just gamers in general.
I mean, she literally said a lot of gamers are white supremacists. I think there's also another disconnect here.
To the chat, as if she's specifically like talking to the screen as if she's talking to the chat. And even if she did mean that about gamers in general, she would still be somewhat right. There is a bit of a racist problems in gaming. I mean, have you ever gone to a fucking gaming and all of a sudden someone screams the N-word and all this racist shit? I have.
That's an anecdotal account, and honestly, there's no way to verify that. That's the problem with anecdotal accounts. But aside from that, I don't think it's really safe to start trying to argue somebody's intent when we have no way of contacting that person or knowing what their intent was. All we can do is judge the clip itself, the words she said. That's all we have to go off of. So that's just the way I'm going to rule on that one.
And I do have some information here that she is one of the people who does want voice chat removed, citing that it is unfair. Hold on. Citing that it is unfair, and I find this personally, and I'm going to use some left-leaning language here, I find it to be ableist. Linking that will be in the first thing. See here, I'm going to send it to Stalin and the Coyotes. Just the first part of it where she talks about it being unfair and talking about the possibility of removing it, and I disagree with that. And I disagree with it on several aspects, and that's one reason you could say she probably isn't set up for this job. And also, as much as I hate to say it, Stat did bring up a point. It shouldn't be okay to just insult a large swath of your customers by insinuating, even by your own opinion, that they're white supremacists. That's not okay. Not if you want to run a business.
Repeat that real quick. I was distracted.
Okay. As much as I hate to say it, I'm going to have to agree with Step on at least one thing. It's unwise and bad business and incorrect to accuse your customer base of being filled with white supremacists. That's very unwise. And again, her wanting to remove voice chat, I find to be ableist.
Remember, voice chat is not ableist. The whole problem with the whole voice chat thing is because it gives some people without a mic with a mic an unfair advantage over others. And as she said, she points out there the whole racism around it. Okay, let's say you're a guy of like you're not white. Let's just say you're not white,
I'm
and
Hispanic.
you're playing a game, you're playing competitive maps, and some other guy from the other team he starts saying racist shit. Now you don't want to fucking hear that shit. You're sick and tired of that shit. Yet you would lose the game in-game advantage if you just muted him. Or let's say if it wasn't even just you, it's just someone on your fucking team. That would be kind of unfair.
I mean, personally, I know you use me as the example here, so I'm just going to go by how I've operated in games when I hear racist stuff. Usually they can't get my race right, which is hilarious, and it really doesn't distract me because I'm a casual gamer. But if we're talking about intensive gamers, and if somebody does that in competitive mode, I would imagine the best thing would be to mute them and then report them to whoever's in charge of these competitions.
But during that, you would lose the competitive advantage in that match.
And if
And
you
not
and
every ban goes through. Even
no, but if
not
you
every ban.
but here's the thing, Plushie. If these things are moderated correctly and they're ran by proper staff as they should be, whether or not they are or not, I don't know. But if they should be, then a win like that is disqualified because your opponent went outside of the range of the actual game to beat you.
Yeah, but this isn't always regulated at the time. These are millions of online matches. Most of the time, they have to get bots to look over that shit, and that doesn't always work.
Then that should be something they should be more concerned about
They
properly
should be.
moderating instead of just taking away an entire ability from an entire
That would
subclass.
be a really
I
hard
need to
moderation
interject.
system to.
I need to
Go ahead.
interject very quickly because I'm not sure you're both arguing the same definition of competitive play. I think it would be really helpful if you were both on agreed on what competitive play means in this context, because competitive play can mean online games that are just in competitive mode, like Counter Strike or CS:GO, or it can be an actual tournament style thing, that's what it feels like Leo's arguing versus what you were
Yeah.
arguing here, Plushy, which was more of like the CS:GO style, just competitive mode. So I think right now, kind of establishing where you're arguing this, both of you would be very helpful towards actually like coming to like you know.
All right.
I can't
For,
words right now, but
for the record, when I talk about personally competitive, I'm talking about in a structured environment where you are trying to win something, not just the game, but like a prize. Now, my other issue here is if we're talking about like online gameplay where we're just like say we're playing Halo, right? And we're competitively playing against another team. Why in the world would you talk to the other team instead of your own teammates?
Chat thing is on, and even then, like I said, what if it's someone on your own team that's racist, speaking racist bullshit, and you don't want to hear that because it can mostly affect you or cause past memories to appear that aren't pleasant. You
Okay.
shouldn't. And then you would have to block them, and then you would have a disadvantage.
If I can, if I can also interject, I'm surprised Leo hasn't pointed this out. Plushy, you're aware that the mute button exists, right?
Yes, but if you mute them, like I said, you would get a somewhat unfair advantage on your team because that's one less team member you can focus and talk with compared to your team that might have more.
That's an extremely subjective moment, and that's going to come down to literal milliseconds.
That's still going to be an effect on people.
It
That's
could.
still going to.
It's a hypothetical, not a definite. So
and they could have an advantage of having more people on the voice mic.
Wait. Then let me get this right. When it comes to the lady who believes that she's a deer, you're okay with waiting until she does something damaging. But with voice chat, you're okay with it being muted because of the potential of damage, but not with actual evidence of damage. Is that accurate?
That's not accurate at all. That's not anything relating to my statement at all.
But you're just talking about what it would do to people. Do you have any data on that?
In a competitive match, there has in a competitive match is different from the deer lady situation.
Do you have data that these things actually cause problems within the match that cause people to lose?
yeah, we would need to see some kind of data if that's the kind of statement that you're making. If you're making a statement that that this will cause people to lose, you're going to need to show some kind of data to that effect, because that is something you can quantify. And
Bet.
Leo's been good about showing his sources, so it would be wrong of me not to ask you to show a source to that effect.
No, hello?
No, I can hear you. I don't know. I thought that was on my end.
I'm looking for data on it right now.
And how much longer do you guys want this section of the debate to go before we switch to the other topic?
I'm fine with however long, as long as you both have, points to make. As long as
I
chat's not getting bored, I'm fine. I would like to request 5 minutes between topics, just so I can go have a smoke or something, and just so chat.
yeah, I feel like that we should move on to the next one soon because people are
Yeah, we
cla-
should. Soon. I can't find any data on that, but personally, if someone's talking about a situation that is sensitive to me, I'd probably mute them as well because that's sensitive shit. So I can at least attest on
Unfortunately,
my part,
because
which isn't much though.
right, yeah. So unfortunately, there's no way to verify the claim as being like something that affects a large number of people or has a huge factor or plays a huge factor with a lot of people. So
Well, we do have an article passed to me by Monstrous, but clearly I can't read this entire article, so I'm just going to leave it in chat. Actually, no, she already did. I'll pass it on to you guys to read at your leisure, because obviously I can't form an argument based on something I was just given, especially if people aren't doing the same for Plushie. That would be severely unfair.
Was this the one who tried to do BDSM in a drama tweet thread?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I try not to pay attention to stuff like that.
Weird.
And it's also irrelevant to the argument at hand. She says the TLDR of the paper is that the trolls are one-offs, but again, I'm not making that claim. I haven't read it, and I'm not going to talk about something I don't know.
All right.
So let's go ahead, Stalin.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might as well move on to the next one because brick wall here, obviously, and Plushie cannot.
Well, you guys are the moderators. You can both make your own decision on who you think did better here, and heck, the chat can too. But we'll go ahead and take a 5-minute break so Coyote can grab a much-needed smoke. Feel free to just relax, guys.
I'm fond of
I love
getting
you,
lugged.
Leo. That's about right. I'll see you in about 5.
Okay, I was just about to move Creepy in here for about 5 minutes.
Go for it. He wants in.
Oh,
yeah, he was sitting in political cancer and he just disappeared right when oh, there he is. Hello, Creepy. You're here to join us on the break, gamer.
Can you get your 3 other jackals in here to really balance it out?
Yes, the other jackal snipers. Yeah, I understand. Actually, I might as well change that name real quick. Whoops. Okay, I guess Creepy died.
Well, how many room members is the room set for 4? That's why.
Whoops, my bad. Whoops, my bad. Let me increase that to 5. 6. There you go.
The gamer keeps dying.
Gamer, are you alive? Can you talk now? Wait.
Not for a moment.
What are you doing, Creepy? Okay, you know what? Fine. Just be Rendrick instead. Just be Rendrick instead.
Oh, Lord. I was going to break it at the end.
Let me in.
All right, hold on. Creepy, are you there now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, my God, finally.
Oh my God. Thank
You're
Christ.
eating shit.
Okay. So,
You died again. Holy shit.
Here, I'm increasing it to 8 just to be on the safe side. Good God.
Let me know when I can say something.
We're trying to get Creepy has a much shorter amount of time, so that's why we're trying to get him in here. Sorry.
I don't know what's going on.
He's on mobile.
That's
Because he's probably at the gas station and he's bored.
God damn it. Oh well. Anyways, while we're doing that, Rendrick, do you have anything to say right now? While Coyote's out getting a smoke.
I've got a lot of fucking say,
Oh boy.
but I'll save it.
Also, Monstrous wants in for a minute. We might as well give her comeuppance.
Okay.
Boy. I can't wait for that.
And then we'll move on to the next topic, because I don't want to delay here too much.
All right, let's just have Rendrick and Monsters go. So Rendrick, go ahead.
Okay. Crow. You're an uneducated moron, like cripplingly. It's amazing. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about when you talk about religion. Whenever you reference big guy in the sky, that's an incredibly anthropocentric view of God that you probably grew up with because you didn't really give religion any proper, reading or thought.
I mean, technically, I'm not an atheist. I have my own religious
No,
beliefs as well.
you argue like a fucking high school fedora wearing atheist. That's the problem.
No, but my point is this. I'm not saying religion bad. I'm saying, well, they're both kind of like crazy beliefs. They have little to no
the
proof.
thing is, no,
What's the
because
fucking difference?
Christianity and similar subsects of and similar denominations and branches of the Abrahamic religions have been used largely as guides for societies and guides for how to
Good
live
ones.
with life. Like, you know how difficult fucking life is? You probably, probably don't, especially when you don't consider how far back we're talking. We're talking, like several thousand years back when you didn't have sanitation, when you didn't have plumbing, when your average age of life expectancy was somewhere between 30 years and stillbirth.
I wonder what helped that.
What would help that? Some way to cope.
I think his assumption is that somehow religion caused that.
Religion didn't fucking cause material scarcity and technological, the early technological developments. Those were
the Dark
without
Age.
them. The Dark Ages. Oh my god, you fucking moron! What do you know about the Dark Ages?
Dark Ages or some kind of religious bullshit that like don't make new technology or some shit.
No, that's not accurate at all.
No, that is so fucking.
Okay,
so
hold
far
on. I can debunk that real quick.
Go ahead, please.
The Dark Ages, Plushy. What was the Dark Ages known for in terms of like the zeitgeist, in terms of what was common in that era?
You give me some pinpoints on that.
Knights, weaponry, armor, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The forefront of human technology at any age is war. They created a lot of new stuff during the Dark Ages, and most of it was how to annihilate.
There was a suppression of certain. No, the Dark Ages was due to a suppression of other, belief systems other than Catholicism.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what you don't understand is Catholicism, but I actually made a lot of fucking developments during that time.
I'd also like to mention during the Dark Ages, with the rise of Islam in the Middle East, they made a lot of advancements in astronomy because they had to know where Mecca was. There's also that, and also
they also made the toilet.
Yeah, that too, and advancements in mathematics. That's not very accurate at all, Plushy.
Yeah, what you understand is the Dark Ages, that stupid fucking graph you see posted all over the place, where it's like, oh, technological progress, yada yada, and then it drops. No, it actually is more like, oh, sort of a flat line, sort of an increase, and then it started going back up exponent or geometrically.
All right,
but no, it's not. It wasn't a regression. If anything, it was just a stagnation of things other than the status quo.
Well, we could get into that more, and again, that's why I'm not arguing a lot of these with him, because we'd be here a while. Let's go ahead and give Monstrous her due, because she's been waiting very patiently.
Go ahead.
Know that I'd say it's patiently. Okay, so I'd like to point out that I have gamed for most of my adult life, well into my mid-teens. So I'd like to point out I have done a lot of competitive matches. Specifically, about 2 years ago, I played roughly 2.5 years of competitive Overwatch, and I can tell you from experience that having one person muted does not affect your competition or your ability to compete at all. What does affect your competition is someone screaming in your ear because you can no longer focus. I'd also like to point out that the article that I posted for Whom the Gamer Trolls, that was actually a study that was conducted by Riot on roughly 10,000 League players who had all experienced some form of toxicity in their game. Their findings found that trolls are literally just one-off people who had really bad days. So removing VC from competitive matches, it doesn't matter whether it's competitive on a big screen in a gigantic, I don't know, convention hall, or whether it's competitive in that you're ranking up. That sort of trolling is literally just a one-off. It does not help to remove VC. You're still going to experience some form of harassment, whether it's VC or whether it's in text. And this is from two separate games, whose primary communication are two different types, one being text and the other being voice. You're going to experience it no matter what. You muting them doesn't affect them because there's still other ways to play, including the fact that all competitive video games have the ability to ping. So you don't need to talk to other people. Does it help? Absolutely. Is it going to bring you down if you mute everybody? Probably not. That's
Okay,
all I wanted to say.
So you know that it would help in a competitive setting, and that you know that it would help in a competitive setting to have people to talk with. Yet you having those without those people, you don't see how it would be a disadvantage how to have
Hey, how often have you received any sort of harassment online? I'd love to know. You being
oh
you.
boy.
In a competitive match setting. And I don't just mean like I'm playing quick play, haha. I mean like you're ranking up. You're trying to get your MMR up.
I haven't played Overwatch in like a year at
Overwatch
most.
is not the only game that uses an MMR system.
But to be fair,
So
back when
so my point is that it's more than likely I have probably, and I'm not saying it is 100% true, but it is more than likely that I as a woman of color have experienced quite a bit of harassment online, mostly because I'm a woman. And I've heard everything from "you sound like you're 12 years old" to "get back in the kitchen." I've heard literally everything in between and then some. It is not a disadvantage to mute the player that is being an asshole, because they're going to be an asshole the entire rest of the game because you're not winning, or you're not providing enough heals, or you're not doing enough damage. The point is that person is already triggered. The only thing that you can do to show that you are better other than win the game is to literally just mute them.
okay, so
It's not
here's
going
a
to
I just
it's not
want
going
to
to
add to
matter.
that.
Wanted to
I
let
just
you
want to
guys know
add to.
back.
I just
Hi,
wanted to
guys.
add to what Mommy said, super like really quick. What did I want to say? That's right. Yeah, you seem to fail to make the distinction between specifically like the utility of the mute and how the utility of the other player isn't already compromised before you even think about muting them. Like that person is already bringing your team down before you mute them. So muting them won't actually do the already won't muting them won't inflict the impairment you're suggesting. It's already been inflicted by their presence.
All right, so are we ready to move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess Rendrick and Dami Bami. I guess.
Yeet.
Yeah.
I'll yeet.
You guys gotta yeet.
Okay, bye.
Yeah. Sorry, Rendrick. All right.
He has to groom me later.
Oh, God damn it! Shut the fuck up.
Uh,
All right. Let's get on to the second topic at hand, and then we'll. I guess we'll end this off.
All right, so the topic at hand is Plushie discussing, critiquing somebody's art. And I'm going to go ahead and pass the image to Stalin. Plushie should be familiar with it. It was the main image he used on his video, his first video about this, which is what we'll be referencing in this case. Let me go ahead and pass that on to Stalin. He can put that on screen so everybody can see it. And I'll wait for that to be on screen on my end. Hurry up, Stalin. Am I dead?
We must entertain the audience while we word noises. These are words. This boy is talking hard.
There we go.
There
it
you
is.
go.
Okay.
There you go. I have my mic muted, by the way. My apologies.
Okay, so why don't you tell me what your argument is here? Because I watched your video, but I want you to go ahead and restate it. That way we don't have any unclear statements here. What is your argument against what's being put in this image? I'll pass it to you just to be on the safe side, because I don't know if you have your stuff ready to go here. Boom. Now send it to Coyote. Oomst. Rory,
How did it?
Rory, it's not time yet.
It's not time. Rory, it's not time. Okay.
I moved him.
I gotta turn it back down to 4. All right, it's back down to 4.
Okay, so
Okay.
Plushy, are you there? Plushy? Plushy? Grow?
Ground control to Major Tom.
Okay. Well, I mean, if he doesn't... Oh, he just deafened himself. I'm guessing that his mom just walked in.
All right, we'll give him a moment then.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and run over some of this. His issue is he does not think that...
Sorry about that.
There you
Are
are.
you back?
Okay. Tell me what your argument against this piece is, since I'm sure the chat hasn't watched your video, and I want to give a fair end on you here on what your thoughts are on this.
Biggest problem with the art piece is that it's whining about criticism, begging for sympathy, trying to get sympathy without properly addressing it. If it was an art piece properly addressing the criticism without, making it making a straw man and some shit, I would be perfectly fine.
Okay, do you have evidence that it's a straw man?
It
Did you cut out?
the statements it says are generalized statements from critics, people criticizing the art. It's been seen multiple times over before. You probably it'd be a hard way to show
Okay.
evidence of it.
Here's the thing. Every single one of these statements I've seen, and I've seen them in criticism of these images. I've seen people call it sexist. I've seen people call it fatphobic. I've seen people screaming, stop sexualizing XYZ thing. I've heard the why are men allowed to draw? Why are men allowed to animate? And where her organ's at is a common thing. It's so common at this point, it's being lampooned.
And this picture is really generalizing those statements because most of those complaints have a lot more nuance to them that's not really shown.
Do you have one?
For example, the whole sexist thing. Generally, when women are sexualized, they're given no personality. They're just made to be a sex object, and that's the big problem. If people were, I don't have anything wrong with sexy art and shit. It's just like when it's given no personality and no artistic, good artistic intent. And it's just it's just this piece of art just to be just sexy and that's it. And that's kind of lazy. That's kind of like making a sex object, and that's kind of defying women and whatnot.
Real quick, we're talking about an image of a drawn woman. So, how can you give a drawing the personality and autonomy you're talking about when it's just a simple drawing?
Well, simple, simple, like fucking, I don't know, fucking. You know how a character like Garfield will give a little smirk to the camera, like a little sarcastic smirk to the camera. Give it some facial personality, like some great expressions and shit. Not just the generic sexy bullshit or whatever.
But the claim is that it is sexist, not just that it is sexy. Now, granted, that's followed up in stop sexualizing, but the claim sexist. What is sexist about a drawing like this?
It's a objectifying drawing of women with nothing, with no personality, just an objectified picture of a woman.
But you can't really do personality other than, of course, general looks. You're talking about turning it into a sex object, which it's literally a drawing. That's what it is, Plushy. You're complaining about it being what it is.
Yeah, but my point is, as an art piece, when making a not safe for work art piece, you gotta put some personality into it, or it will just be sex object. It's fine to make a sex object, an object, check the drawings that's meant to be sexy and appeal to people, but you got to have more to it, or it's just lazy and objectifying and just
but
that.
You're not giving anything though. You're not telling an actual critique here. You're just saying you should do X, but you're not saying what X is. You're not giving examples.
I think I can give this a little bit better direction.
Sure,
Why? Why is it, and this is based off of my interpretation of this image here, and I think this is just to give it a bit better direction. Why would it be acceptable to objectify one of them and not objectify the other when they're both intended to be objectified by their nature?
Okay, here's the thing. When most people make these drawings of a sexy woman and a sexy man, the man is obviously depicted as strong. Now, I'm bisexual, and typically I'm not a fan of strong, muscular guys. They're not sexually appealing. It takes more than that to be sexually appealing. And the problem and like I said, the whole power fantasy thing.
The power fantasy is a false equivalence, and I can flat out tell you why it is.
Oh, go ahead. I hope I bet I've heard it before.
First and foremost, for it to be power fantasy, you were assuming intent. You can say that about certain things. A good example that I think some people here will get: Masters of the Universe. It is intended. He-Man and Masters of the Universe is intended to be a power fantasy in the sense of they saw that kids didn't like everybody else being in charge of them, so the catchphrase was "I have the power." He-Man is an empowerment character. He is a power fantasy. That's why he exists in the way he is, right? That they have stated not just on paper, but in interviews and everything else. But your argument here is that it's power fantasy. You can't show that intent because the artist isn't saying that. Secondly, there's also the fact that a lot of women do find these type of bodies sexually appealing. And we see that not only in people like Jason Momoa, Chris Evans, literally any other man that plays any character in Marvel or DC live action films, but we also see it in Harlequin romance novels. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and post these in the chat. But I'm going to send them to Stalin first so we can put them on screen. And I can make him super uncomfortable because that's just fun.
Of course you will.
Yeah, but the thing about those images, it is not, like I said earlier, just sexualizing a character is the problem. You see, these these strong muscular men, yes, they're sexualized, but there's an element of power fantasy in them as well. They're strong, they're powerful. If there was a sexualized image of a woman and she had muscles, that'd be fine, huh? But most of the time, it's really slender types that aren't very
do you not think a woman with, strong sexual features, that's not a form of power fantasy?
I do not think that's a form of power fantasy.
Oh, you are in for a rough awakening.
It might. Okay. I can imagine someone, wanting to be sexy would be great and all, but where's the power? Where's the strength? Where's the ability to overpower someone?
Have you ever seen what a woman that's really attractive can do to a social situation? Have you ever seen the actual power they wield?
Less of power, and that's more of
that's still power.
Using charm.
That's not even amusing. That's still power. A woman with sexual charisma has power that men often don't.
Sure, that's power, but that's more of brains, and that can't be shown in a drawing. You know how people will show their muscles and flex it to show their strength than shows.
I would actually like to interject here, and this is just simply to point out something like Macbeth, where it displays male power physically, but it also shows, I think, through Lady Macbeth, the actual power that a female holds in a lot of these regards that Leo's demonstrating here or arguing here. So I do think he's making a good point, Leo. I mean,
yeah. And again,
that dates back very far. Like Macbeth, I don't even know when that play was written. It's written by Shakespeare, I believe.
Go ahead. Did we lose him?
I think we lost him again. Gotta wait for his internet to repair itself.
Kevin McLeod playing in the background, that elevator music everybody hates. You know the I Hate Everything intro song?
Yes.
Thing 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
what the fuck?
He's back.
I don't know why he's fucking cutting out and shit. That's so annoying.
All right.
By the way, whoever named me Groomy Coyote, I will find you. I will hunt you down, and I will do nothing, and I will probably just be very impotent and angry.
What's with the grooming thing?
Anyways, what were you saying?
Doing something bad, Coyote?
Everything cut out on you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here. I'm asking what you were saying.
Anyways, like I was saying, the whole thing. Okay. If there was a like an art piece of a woman using her power, using her good looks to persuade someone to do something, that would be fine. But these art images don't do that. A simple strong man can do the show off the power fantasy enough. Just strength is good enough power fantasy. But for like persuade using the power of sex for persuasion and stuff, that takes a bit more. Just a sexy woman doesn't do that.
Well, more importantly, having a bodybuilder body doesn't necessarily equate to strength. People who are actually in strongman competitions, literally for strength, don't look like bodybuilders do. They look like they have massive pecs and dad bods. These are people who literally pull buses with their raw power. So that's inconsistency on your end.
But that's not like a really common ideal to most people, though.
I think it is. You just don't know, and that's fine. I don't expect you to know everything, but that's how the real world operates. Now, I think you're absolutely wrong here, and even again, Jason Momoa blows that entire argument completely out of the water, even for bisexuals. Norden is probably drooling somewhere now that I've said that, but
you had me at Chris Evans.
Right, but the image that you had put up there, go ahead and put it back up there, Stalin. The initial image. You said some other things here I would like to take you to task over, but first we need to wait for Stalin to put it back up. He didn't post all the images I sent him either, because he's very uncomfortable with it, and I think it's hilarious.
Oh, okay, the one with the drawing of okay, let me put it back up real quick.
Yeah.
There it is. It's back up.
Okay,
I want to point out the chat real quick, though. We do not shame dad bods here.
Correct. I mean, you can. But,
all right, let's get back on topic.
You made a claim in your video that the girl had bad anatomy. I would like you to tell me exactly how the anatomy is bad.
Those long, like really thinnish arms that kind of look creepy. The fact that the belly button is not where it's supposed to be, and it just generally kind of looks generic too. Not only does it look bad, but it looks generic as well.
Well, we're talking about her anatomy, not the genericness of it, because it's literally nothing.
Well, yeah. Like I said, the long and gated arms and the misplacements of a belly button. It kind of looks creepy-ish to me.
Okay, but looking creepy doesn't mean that it's anatomically inaccurate.
No,
I'll give you the belly button. You are correct on that, but I'm gonna have Stalin throw this up, and I'm gonna wait for him to put that on screen.
Okay, I'll grab that real quick. All right, this is on screen now. I'll put this put this off to the bottom left, I guess.
I'll wait until it shows on my screen, so Plushie can see it better.
There it is.
Okay, Plushie, I want you to tell me if the girl on screen is real.
Well, I'm assuming so, but have you ever seen a person with like long and gated thin arms plus the other body parts like the thick waist and stuff? No, you haven't. I don't think
that's literally what's on the screen. And to that point,
that's not the same thick waist and like same body line
and I'm going to
curved image and stuff. That's not the same.
I'm about to prove it.
Well, you
All
got
right, Stalin, go ahead and put that on screen.
Okay. Let me pull that in my folder. I have to constantly delete these and get rid of these two, and
that tiny doesn't have muscles.
All right, and it's now on screen.
All right, we'll have to give it a minute.
There it is.
Yeah, the only difference, Plushie, is in physically how she's standing. Because I can't obviously manipulate that. But the hips to waist ratio is the same. The waist to bust ratio is the same. The hip width is the same. The arms in width. In fact, the real person has skinnier arms than the art piece. And they're just as long.
So yeah, that basically just proved your point, Moot, Plushie.
Okay, I guess I'll concede on that point. I guess
now,
it is okay anatomy. It's still kind of look.
Now, here's the thing: when you're drawing, if you have an understanding of anatomy as an artist, you can mess with it, manipulate it for characterization, stylization. The problem is if you draw a sexy girl, where are her organs doesn't mean dick. And it doesn't mean dick because, number one, it's fictional. She has no organs to begin with. Now, if the person didn't have an understanding of anatomy and it was an art teacher saying, all right, where's the bicep, the tricep, the lats, the neck muscles? Where are her proper pectorals? Where is her navel? Where is her rib cage in comparison to this? Those are proper critiques that an artist would give either to another artist or to a student. What you did in your video and what is being referred to here isn't that.
I'd admit the whole where her organs things is more of a hyperbolic statement that shouldn't be used in a real critical argument, and I will admit that's probably one stupid line I will admit is generally stupid criticism. Sure, it has basis in reality of true criticism, but it's just a hyperbolic version of it, and it's not fair criticism.
Well, my point is your entire video wasn't really addressing fair criticism. It's you angry that people are reacting to these things. And the truth is,
And
these
they're
things
reacting to it poorly.
well, the thing is, all these things on screen have been things that have been shouted at these people, and they're not there for actual critique. They're there
They're
because people are mad
overgeneralizing
they
the
didn't like
argument,
this art.
though.
What?
Yeah, but the image is overgeneralizing the argument. There's more nuance to these comments if people would just engage and ask instead of actually address the criticism and try to engage in it instead of making a whining art piece saying, "Oh, boo-hoo, I've gotten this criticism before."
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say that you're incorrect because I've seen these arguments. These aren't people who are, especially things like where are her organs and why are men? Because that's usually why are men allowed to draw women? Why are men allowed to animate women? That's not a nuanced argument. That's not somebody trying to start a conversation. That's somebody with a hot take because they're angry because something's not done in a way they like. That's not proper critique. That's not lacking nuance. There's no
the why men are allowed to draw thing is more of a joke.
I don't believe you, Plushie. I don't believe you because you have no source for that.
Oh, I don't necessarily have a joke for it, but I am in most of the leftist communities, and most of the time they say it's a joke. Just like the "oh man, I hate cis people" thing. That's more of a joke than anything.
Plushie, I'm also in lefty communities. I don't know about that, buddy.
I actually wanted to just stop right here and just point out that based on the drawing itself, what we're looking at are criticisms based on preference, which means these are not meant to help the artist grow. These are meant to express either, they prefer the way this guy is drawn or they do not prefer the way this girl is drawn, which means these are subjective preferences of people who did not create this work and do not have a say in how this artist is creating the work. So it's not in my opinion, the argument of criticism itself, it needs to be sort of around that this is a subjective playing field here that they're addressing in this piece.
Well, most criticisms are subjective though in some way.
Let me rephrase then. Subjective towards the preference of the viewer and not necessarily something that can actually help construct and build up the artist towards the way that the artist wants to build himself up.
Correct. And also
preferences that are solely existent within the viewer themselves.
So, yeah, that's kind of it. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you like the art used in the thumbnail, a link to the artist, Missy Drip, is in the description. We'll see you next time. Take care.